They're gonna do like a little challenge mode type of thing, or just revamp it up.
They're supposed to make it heroic, so normal version, since heroic's gonna be like what normal is now.
You know,
That and they need to put a for rent sign up on
So,
Zul'Gurub.
You probably also didn't even raid in BC or Vanilla, so that's why you
Actually-
like Wrath so much.
I rated Molten Core and the original Naxxramas when it came out after the Drums of War patch in Vanilla, and I quit BC because of how awful raiding looked.
Looked? You mean it was too hard for you?
No, it just looked awful, and I wasn't interested in the story whatsoever.
That's okay.
Sunwell was fun.
Whether
the first
it was
trash
or
pool,
not.
especially.
Sun was alright. I think
Those
BT,
are one of the hardest. Those are one of the hardest raids. Like BC was probably one of the hardest raids than any other raids.
okay.
Nah.
First and foremost, Vanilla sucked, and Burning Crusade was horrible. Wrath trumps all. Period.
You're bad, Marcos.
Well,
First off, Vanilla. If you think Vanilla was actually good, then you're highly mistaken. Those
I didn't
raids were
play in
short.
Vanilla. I didn't raid in Vanilla. I started raiding in BC.
Oh yeah, BC sucked.
I'm
I always
sure.
liked Blackrock.
I'm sure I would have enjoyed Vanilla.
BC
the
is
PvP in Vanilla was
I played
awesome.
the whole BT.
That's true.
I played the whole BC, so
Well,
Don't get me wrong.
everybody can say it
I think
sucks.
Wrath of the Lich King was good. Don't get me wrong. I think that extension was good. Was it the best? No. Was Ulduar one of the best raids? Yes. But like I said, Wrath of the Lich King is not the best expansion. I would have to say BC. Mist of Pandaria has been pretty good, and Mist of Pandaria has been pretty good for the noobs. You know what I'm saying. Wink.
There's three
Marcus.
reasons why. There's
Marcus.
three reasons why Wrath is better than BC.
Let's
First
hear it.
one.
this
The
is all
first reason.
opinions, guys. I mean, come on.
No. This is supported by the community because more people came to play Wrath than BC.
Thank you.
The first one,
Alright.
this is the community. It
Hold
doesn't
on,
have
more people
anything to
played
do with
Wrath than
statistics.
BC?
clear.
Absolutely.
You know
clear
why?
mumble, Clear mumble.
You explain this and I'll listen. Go ahead. Let me explain.
Sure. One, the lore. Who the fuck gives a fuck about a blind motherfucker named fucking Illidan? I don't. Nobody else did. Nobody did.
Nope, I didn't either.
BC
I started in vanilla.
Then
and
you
I
weren't a
didn't-
Warcraft. You weren't a Warcraft fan then.
Buddy, I've been playing Warcraft games since the original Warcraft. I know who Illidan is. His story was over in Warcraft 3 before he even got to Frozen Throne.
Yeah, it was for me. It was like a repeat.
The reason why there was more people in Wrath again was because they thought it was the final. They thought it was the all end. It was done, and that's why more people came because they wanted to see the conclusion. BC
That's
was
not
a
true at
better
all.
raid content because after Wrath, it was like when Kata came out. All of a sudden, all these all these MMOs came out. People dropped from that. Dropped from.
I'm not done, and you keep interrupting me, and I
Well,
have
because
something
you-
to
because
prove
you-
against your own
because you're
logic
not
why
even- you stopped
Wrath was
talking,
better
so I
than
jumped in.
BCC. Well, this is your own logic dictates Wrath was better than BC, even though your mouth isn't saying it.
Wrath is not better than BC.
Everybody wanted to come back to play Wrath
my
because they
body
wanted to
says
see
it.
the end of the story, etc., etc.,
Guys,
etc. You played
thumbs
Wrath,
up.
didn't you? Didn't you?
Yes, I played Wrath.
All right, enough said. Why did you want to play Wrath? Because you
I
wanted to
wanted
see the end of
end
Warcraft, Warcraft 2, and Warcraft 3.
Exactly.
An ongoing
That's why there
story
was
that
more
started the
people.
whole thing.
Yeah, that's why
Now,
there
that's
was more
just
people.
reason number one.
Doesn't mean
reason
they had better
two.
rating content.
Reason two, better rating content. First
Negative.
introduction of heroic rating with 2 separate lockouts. The fuck out of here. You want to raid 5
BC
times a
was
week.
all
Nobody
heroics.
cares.
BC was all heroics because people failed at most of all
BC
that
had
shit.
no heroics. BC
I'm
was
saying
just
it
gimmick
was so
fights
hard.
like
It
Mists
was
of
so hard.
Pandaria.
I'm just saying it was so
It was
harder.
not
You had
hard.
less people that could even
More
complete all the
people
raids.
cleared BT and cleared Sunwell than cleared heroic ICC 25. More.
Because there
hands
was more
down.
fucking players, dude. There was more people
There
playing
was
at
more
that time.
people in Wrath and less people clearing heroic endgame content.
That's like saying in Vanilla, oh, not many people cleared it because there were 40-man raids. There were bigger raids at that time, so less people cleared it. That's
Your logic is
comparing
not
apple to oranges.
dictating exactly what I'm telling you. What I'm telling you is there was more raid content, there was harder raid content, and there was more people playing it with less people actually clearing the content.
Negative, but it's okay. We can just
Dude,
agree
we
to
can go
disagree.
back and we can pull all this up off of some kind of site if you want to, and I can support my shit.
So how about Guild Wars 2?
Fuck Guild Wars 2, man. What the fuck?
You know what's funny though? There was a video that Mike Preach Wow showed that it took guilds faster, like guilds were faster clearing like Nax Ramus and than they were clearing BC stuff. That is at least on normal. Hey Zell.
God damn it, Zell.
I learned long ago.
Oh, he doesn't have a mic.
What was my favorite expansion? Wrath of the Lich King. It gave me and my friends more to do than just sit there and quest. Like, we were able to PV together, we were able to get in groups together, we were able to go do dungeons together, we were able to do everything together, just like EC. Except we like the content more. Bottom line.
BC, because Karazhan was so much goddamn fun.
That was a good raid. I forgot about that.
Best overall, I would have to say ICC, just because it was a good balance between everything, not just raids, but PvP and questing and achievements.
Yeah, some of them quests out there and fucking... What? Did you guys ever do Howling Fjord Horde side?
Yeah.
Dude, that shit is awesome.
I've only ever done it as Horde, actually.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, guys. It's worth it.
Here. Yeah.
Fuck you.
We all know what Monopod's favorite expansion is anyway.
Hey, if you want to talk about 5-man dungeons, hey. hey. If you like 5-mans, you should have done 5-man BC, which you didn't. They were really hard. Those 5-man heroics were hard. And
They
were
were.
fun.
Shattered Monopod, they were
And you could
fucking
only
hard, dude.
you can only do them. You know, you had a lockout.
And
Yeah.
exactly, it's a lot. You had to do
and
it.
you have to remember, it was BC that they introduced flying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and that's probably what shaped a lot of stuff. So there's another good point.
Or Ruined.
Well,
Mine would have to be pre-BC, actually.
Vanilla.
I just love Blackrock. Everything that went on Blackrock Mountain.
Oh wow.
say-
I have to
Black
say, that was actually a really good time. Blackrock was pretty awesome.
I mean, you had the entry of Nefarian, that whole storyline. You had the orcs going on, the beginning of
Onyxia?
Ragnaros. Exactly.
Nixia's storyline, if you're Alliance, was really epic.
Yeah, Lady Preston.
Yeah.
Don't fail me.
I liked Vanilla, but I only liked it because I could pump pyro people.
Polybomb.
Best
Go back to-
freaking time ever was going into a BG, popping arc power, palm pyro, and just one-shotting. It was fun.
Not
What
to
about them?
mention, pre-BC, you had 15-man Sholo in the beginning.
And no one ever
Scalamance.
never ever
I
mentioned
never
it.
played that one.
Scalamance was
that one.
awesome, guy. With the Argent Dawn and shit.
Dude,
Um,
no one's mentioning this one thing, and this is really killing me.
And where?
Okay, the best tier rating, I think, is definitely Karazhan.
Carol.
That's what I
yeah.
said.
No,
It
someone
was
said
so
it.
much fun.
It's
It
dude,
was that was a
dude,
pretty
it's
damn
the
good
first raid in BC that you actually ever do. Like, it's so easy and everything. I did up until like what? A secret boss, and I think that was my first raid and my first experience ever raiding with an actual guild. So I guess that's my vote for the best.
Kara was probably one of the most well put together raids that Blizzard's ever done.
But it was also the latest released raid that Blizzard's ever gotten.
Yeah, true.
It was
released,
also
what, 9 months late?
it had a lot of trash.
Wrath because of Ulduar World PvP, but I'm a little biased because it was also the first time I joined a guild and raided.
I have to say that was a good time for guild raiding and stuff. But as far as actual raiding goes, BC was better because of the difficulty.
Bro, you throw fucking ICC on heroic, and you tell me that shit is not harder than BT.
Okay, I have to. ICC was hard.
Bum will not get off.
ICC was hard on like the end bosses.
Of
I
course.
agree.
The beginning bosses weren't hard. Like
Of course not.
Lich King
Marrowgar?
was fucking crazy. The Blood Queen was hard.
Syndragosa.
What about heroic Syndragosa?
Yeah,
That
that
was
was
crazy.
fucking hard.
Fuck.
Yeah, I agree there, but BT like most bosses in all BC was hard. I mean, Karazhan was a walkthrough except for a few bosses, but most BC bosses were fucking hard. Like you get a guild, go in there, we're wiping on the first 2 bosses constantly, even on rekills.
I don't know what you're talking about. Gunship was really hard, bro.
Oh yeah, loot ship. I mean, yeah. Wrath did introduce loot ship, so I'd have to say yeah.
Yeah.
Free
Yeah,
gear
but
from
every-
Marcos. Hey, free gear from Marcos, huh?
Every expansion had a loot ship. It just wasn't necessarily a ship. I mean, figure you had
Oh,
Loot Reaver in
chessboard?
BC.
The Karazhan chessboard.
You had Loot Reaver.
Yeah.
That's right.
I love that freaking encounter, dude. That chessboard.
Hey, try soloing that now.
So what is it for Mist? Is it spoils?
How do
no,
you not
spoils
remember
is
that?
actually hard, or can be hard.
Immersius
One of the most
is the loot.
Yeah, Mercius is the loot ship of Siege of Orgrimmar, man.
Do it heroic mode though. It's got some mechanics if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, I can't
It
comment
is.
on the heroic.
The heroic version does have quite a few mechanics you do have to follow. It's easier than most of the other bosses on heroic, but it's still harder than any boss on normal.
I'd tell you it was fun. Heroic, Spine, and Dragon Soul.
Oh,
Yeah,
that was
shit
not
was
fun.
harder
That was
than-
I'm terribly
terrible.
disappointed in
I
that
don't-
whole story about him.
You
I
guys must
hated
have
that.
had like bad guilds or something, because we one-shot that shit the first time we saw it.
Yeah.
I one-shot it too, but I came in halfway through Kata, so...
He was harder than Deathwing himself on the final
Yeah.
part, which was kind of
Cho'Gall
weird.
was harder than him.
We struggled with that one, unfortunately, for
Alright,
like
alright.
weeks.
Here.
Alright, can I say mine?
Yeah, go ahead.
Alright, controversial, but I started playing in BC, rated in Wrath, so it's easy for me to say Wrath is my favorite because that's when I had a lot of fun, but I have to say that liking the lore of Warcraft, I'm gonna say Mist of Pandaria is by far leaps and bounds. Hey! It's my
And-
favorite one.
And Mystic
Dude, I love
Pandaria
pandas.
was like BC.
And to be honest
lore.
with you, like, this is the first expansion where we have story that's not solely based on the Warcraft world. They've expanded, and forget the dailies. I mean, the dailies was a miss, but if you look past 5.0, they've delivered on every single patch. Every single patch had content. Every single patch had a raid. There was something on every single patch. They've added flex rating. They've improved on LFR. The encounters are a lot. You know, the TOT was amazing. Siege is amazing. I mean, let's forget the earlier content because that was just like introduction. But I feel like as a whole, with an expansion that started off where people were making fun of like pandas, I feel like
pandas and flying saucers.
exactly. They were making fun of that, and people wasn't expecting much. I feel like they've delivered for it to be like one of the best expansion. I feel.
And
I will
Marcos,
say that
that was one of the things I told you, Marcos. I said, in my feeling, that Mista Pandaria was probably one of the next better expansion. Like I'd put BC, as my opinion, BC one, and it was like a close two, in my
Close
opinion.
to.
Because it's the first ever expansion, so.
You want more.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you on that.
But Wrath of the Lich King had that too, though. It had that daily. It had daily systems on it where if you wanted reputation,
But you,
there wasn't a lot of gear though.
But you
There
guys
What are you
can
talking about? Buy gear with gold?
hold on.
He's talking about. You could.
That's
yeah.
been
Yeah.
in every single expansion. Every
Well-
single one of them. You get rep, you get exalted. Go back to Kata, look at your vendors, and tell me I'm
Yeah,
lying.
you get exalted and yeah.
Exactly. I'm with Marcus on that.
Yeah, but the next patch, they made it easier to get. You can get reputation easier. There was ways to get it easier. It increased it. You can buy
Yeah.
it with
Every
honor
day.
instead of valor. So, I mean,
I think his point is to say though that definitely, like I said,
repetitive.
they made it better. I mean, 5.0 is like the red-headed stepchild of Mist. It's just horrible. Like everyone can agree that dailies are just bad. They definitely made it better going forward, but it was really damaging in the sense that what Marcus was saying, just to piggyback on his point, how can you have rep that's by one, it was gated by rep because you had to get, in order, you had to do the Golden Lotus dailies, get exalted to that before you had even a chance at the
those
Shadow
enchantments
Band
and stuff.
or August Celestial. So you had rep, gated by rep, and then once you got the rep, you had to get Valor. There's times where, I mean, you guys all know you have the sufficient amount of Valor, but you're not exalted with the faction. So that was just really bad game design.
Plus, in Wrath, you also had the tabards that allowed you to get rep as well. I mean, it's not
And Cataclysm too.
right. I would
do
much rather
also-
run a bunch of heroics to get my rep than to do that stupid daily grind again, because that daily grind was retarded.
Yeah.
But why would you need to do the dailies? I'm telling you, why did you have to do the dailies? Just tell me why. You didn't have to do them, you know. But go on. Go.
Or professions.
But it was not best in slot. I highly doubt that.
The one trinket was.
I mean, some of them were like they were equivalent to the ones in the raid. They were exact same, just named differently. Some of them were. Oh, you know what? I'm thinking of the one. I'm thinking of the 1% drop rate.
They not?
I'm thinking of the 1% drop rate in the raid in Mogashon Vaults. Agree, and there's people that don't.
Marcus, You're an
is
outlier and you're bad.
it's not about
So you don't count.
you don't. It's about
Oh, damn.
I achieved this. Can you achieve it? Go. I want you to try. I want more people to try. And it's going to make better players because they're going to be like, oh, but now I'll just wait to get. You know, a lot of people say, I'll just wait to get that next expansion when it's like super easy to get.
Well,
I know
also,
it's really stupid. That's
And I
one of my
hate-
pet peeves.
Like
I hate
the
it.
Pureblood Firehawk doing a Ragnaros on heroic mode. He was a pretty damn hard boss. I mean, if you ever did him on heroic mode, and.
Yes.
So I got it the last 3 weeks left. I went into open raid, and I luckily got that because I did it with a group 6 times, and I finally got it. I had a plus 60 roll, and I got that thing. And then all of a sudden, guess what happened? There was a glitch with the system, and they were dropping 100% on normal mode, which sucks because they're not really rare. But the thing is, now they're a 1% drop rate, and they're hard to get. Just like the ICC mount, it's a 1%. Memoron's at 1%. They should have just took those out of the game.
but you know what's the thing though, Monopod?
What's up?
The problem is that if you lock out all those different things with
There's 200 and something other mounts to get. Why?
Yeah. Yeah, but most of the cool ones, like the most epic ones, are mostly raid locked out. And the problem is if you lock it out with, like, let's say it's a heroic level, or you basically lock out 90% of the entire population of players that play this game, and then we go back to the days of vanilla and BC where Blizzard is manufacturing all this content that 90% of the players don't get to see, which is just a waste of time. So
No,
Wait,
I mean,
that's
there's plenty,
exactly what he's saying.
There's plenty of other mounts to get.
Well, right.
That one should be
and-
special for us, for
right,
the
and
heroic
if-
ratings.
If there is a mount for heroic rating, it should stay that way.
It should,
It's you don't get to feel like you've achieved anything that anybody else could have done easier or with less effort or without trying. Is his whole point.
Perfect example. Challenge modes. It scales down your gear to 496. And they said, and I hope they keep their word this time, they said they are not going to change that. So if next expansion comes out, guess what? And you want to do challenge modes and get the challenge mode gear from the previous content, guess what? 496 gear. All your gear is going to be 496. So it's still going to be hard. It's still going to be difficult. Not hard, but
So
difficult to
I
get
have
that
a
challenge mode
question.
gear. Or whatever.
Would this
or yeah,
solve
470.
your
No,
issue?
463. Sorry, 463.
yeah, 463.
Like the blues from the heroics, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. They're going to scale down, so you can't just go in there and face roll and get that gear or that
Here's-
transmog.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll be
the
right back.
challenge mode dungeons are really to prove a good player, not like what's your gear. It's how good you are as a player. I mean, to get gold, sometimes you need potions and stuff, but that's what it's for, is to feel like an achievement. Like, yes, I got all this stuff from the challenge mode because it's hard, and I got into it and I completed it. This is my achievement.
Yeah, and you can flash it off if that's what you want to do, and I do enjoy flashing it off. But when I see other people get it, it's not really an achievement for me if it's easier content.
Oh,
Or
I
when
agree.
easier
I
people
agree.
go in there and like are flying the mount that I got last tier, and they got it real easy, and I'm like, oh, I went in there and soloed it. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
But
See,
yeah,
sometimes I'll do that, but I was also in that current content, and I just couldn't get it at the time. I didn't
Yeah.
roll high enough or whatever.
And I understand that, but
And if I
it's
do that,
sad.
I
It's
don't flash it
gone.
off.
There's
I don't
200
flash
and
it
something other mounts to get. People can get, so it's not like they don't have enough mounts for people. Let's keep the rare content for the rare people, or for the heroic raiders.
I agree.
I would agree to say maybe they could do other things like if you get the mount while it's like current content, maybe you have a different skin, and then after that content is done, they have another color for that mount. It's the exact same mount,
fine
but
with
there's a
that.
different skin. So you still have that prestige of like, okay, well, I have let's say the blue version of this mount, and you have the red one because you got it afterwards. There's different ways that they can do it, but I don't agree with it, like with players not being able to get certain items just because they didn't play that time, or they didn't have the hours to get to farm heroics or whatever. It's a game, and they want to get as many people into the content as possible. Whether you do heroics this current content, or if you do heroics next expansion, you still did the heroic, and you should still be rewarded with the achievement or the mount. I mean, I could agree with you to say that they should maybe incentivize doing heroics and doing little things here and there. That I'm all for you, but I don't think that the mount should be exclusive.
Well,
Well, it
here's the
should
thing.
be, but I mean
This is
that's where we differ. That's all.
Yeah,
this
no,
is the
it's
thought
cool.
process, man. People are spending their nights coming in to raids, right? And they're pushing heroics and they're being the best that they can possibly be. They made it onto a raid team. They stay on the raid team. The raid team stays together. A lot of time, money, and aggravation is invested into this. Now, you take that and then you compare that with somebody who comes in the following expansion who just, somebody comes in, they're like, hey, I want a piece of transmog. No problem.
Yeah.
So
Let's do
maybe
it all on
keep-
heroic.
So maybe keep the mount and take out the actual achievement.
Well,
No.
I did
No, no, no,
5.
no.
We've wiped 500 times on heroic siegecrafter, and next tier someone's going to go in there and solo it. Is what what basically he's trying to say, and
Yeah.
which I 100% agree is. It's like, wow, oh, you don't even have to do that mechanic because you can just solo this boss now.
Yeah, and I do hate it that you can, next X-Packs, there's such a difference that you can just go in and solo it.
When you guys start raiding, after you do Garrosh, you start doing heroics, or if you're on Garrosh and it takes you 500 attempts, you'll see what I'm talking about when you kill it and you guys get your mount, the
already did heroic
Wolf
Garrosh.
Rider. But all I'm saying is, like, you'll understand when you die in a boss 500 times, and then you kill, and you're like, oh, finally, and then you get something, and you'll understand the feeling I'm talking about.
No, I completely agree with you, and obviously I don't claim to be a heroic raider or far from it, and I completely understand what you're saying because not heroic raiding, but I've experienced where I've gotten something and then an expansion later it's been easier to get, but I think the sentiment that I've never understood from other players, or let's say players that are at the top, is to say, you got this and you did it when it was bleeding edge content, and props to you. Definitely we need players like that, but the content, the hardship that you and your raid team went through, and those hours that you guys spent downing that boss, it doesn't take away from that because you know what you experienced and how you got it. It doesn't take away from that if, let's say, I come rolling around next expansion and I get it, 2-man it or solo it, and I get the exact same amount as you. Our two, I think for me the whole
It's not
point
rare
with,
then.
I mean, it's not about the whole rarity. It's just that we both got the mount. You got it when it was bleeding edge. Like I said, if they put an extra achievement in there to say like ahead of the curve mount or ahead of the curve garage, so you can link that if you want to link that or whatever. Like I think that they should incentivize those kills and they should do more. But like whatever someone else's gets, whatever, like let's say you get, doesn't necessarily take away from you if I get it afterwards, because you still spent it doesn't take away from those like 500 kills or wipes that you did on
Yeah, but it's a slap in the
Siegecrafter.
face is what it is.
Here's
It's a
the
slap in
thing.
the face to the people that are heroic raiders. That's what it is.
See,
Right.
I
To
would
more
never
hardcore
feel like
players.
that.
Well, because you're not in that
Well,
rate.
it's
Once
true.
you
That's
get
a
to
good
that
point.
once you get to that point and you're doing that, you'll understand. Like even normal modes. Once you start doing, you guys are on normal modes, but I mean like once you pass normal modes and you see all these guys LFR or flex rating coming in, and you're like, wow, I did this on normal, but now these guys are doing it on flex. Yes, I am a motor mouth.
I'm actually with you there, Mono, because I've started heroics
I'm
and
not-
I've wiped a bajillion times on one boss, and it feels like you got cheated out of it because you tried so hard to get whatever achievement, and then it's done and over with. Next X-Pack comes out, somebody one-shots the boss or whatever, gets the achievement, same mount, same everything, and then it's like, seriously? I could have just waited and gotten the same thing.
Here's the thing: would it solve the issue if Blizzard put a system in place like challenge mode dungeons, where the only way you were able to get those mounts is if you went into the raid and it rolled back your gear to equivalent?
I would say,
I
yeah,
think
that's